Welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be showing you how to do a handstand push-up. I'll show you a few tips on how I learned how to do it and a few more extra tips that I wish I did back then so I could learn it faster. Also, quick shout out to ASRV. They sent me another package, some dope track pants. I got the socks, I got the tee, and a bunch more other clothes you'll see in future videos. But before we get into the workouts, I like to explain why the handstand push-up is even useful. First reason, you can build gains anywhere. Let's say you're in a rush and you don't have time to go to the gym and you really want to get a workout in, you could just bust out a couple handstand push-ups on your floor and get an insane pump from that. Whatever sport you participate in, whether it's like gymnastics, you lift weights at the gym, diving, or any sport with explosiveness, the handstand push-up easily translates to those sports. Especially in my case, it's wrestling and jiu-jitsu. It's helped me a ton with grip strength, stability while pinning someone down. And the last reason, it's good for your upper body flexibility, shoulder mobility, and overall, the health for your joints. But that's enough reasons why. Let's get to the first steps and the building blocks. An ideal requirement that you should need before starting is to at least hold your freestanding handstand for at least 15 seconds. You don't want to come in here and learn how to do an improper handstand push-up and build bad habits. So if you don't know how to do a handstand, or if you haven't mastered it, go check out my video on how to get better at handstands. I'll link it down below. Once you do get better at that, hop back into this video and get your first handstand push-up. Okay, first workout we're gonna start with are pike push-ups. This is first variation before you make it more difficult. So all we're gonna do is get into our push-up position, and then we're gonna walk our feet up, hips high, elbows tight. I'm not dangling my head, and I'm slowly gonna push down, all controlled, spotting the floor with my eyes, push back up with my upper body, back to that starting pike position. When that becomes too easy, and you can do at least 10 reps of that, start to add some elevation. So maybe half of this at first, and then when that becomes too easy, add even a higher elevation. You're doing the same exact thing, just with your feet higher. There's gonna be a little bit more pressure on your shoulders, so make sure you're engaging those. Make sure you don't arch your back, keep your spine neutral and straight, keep your hips high, pressurizing with your fingertips, spotting the ground. So make sure you're really working on form. Try not to build those bad habits. Last section for the pikes. One of the moves that I wish that I did back then to help my handstand push-up, they're called pike floating push-ups. So what I mean by that is you're gonna get into your pike, you're gonna lean your whole entire upper body onto your hands and slowly release the pressure on your feet so that your feet are floating. So I'm still keeping my hips raised high, my legs straight, try to hold that as long as you can, and go back down. Let's make things a little bit harder to the point where you're fully inverted on the wall. I like to do something called scapular handstand push-ups. I'm fully inverted in a handstand and I'm pushing through the floor. I'm doing all the same cues as we just did with the pike section, but this time we're locking out our legs, pointing our toes to the ceiling. I'm trying not to arch my back as much when I'm in the handstand and I descend down. And I'm gonna extend as much as I can with my arms locked, engage my scapulas, and I'm slowly gonna go down. I don't wanna bounce because that can cause injury. I like this workout because it builds comfortability in your shoulders and strength. And a common thing that people feel when they do handstand push-ups are their shoulders. They feel a lot of shoulder pain. So I'd recommend this workout a lot. If you can only do one at first, just do one. Don't rush it until you build the strength to do more reps, and then we can move on to the next workout. Now, let's get even closer to the full movement. So we're gonna do some chest-facing handstand push-ups and some back-facing handstand push-ups. But we're gonna start with back-facing first, and we're gonna do some partials. I like doing back handstand push-ups mainly for strength, and chest-facing mainly for proper form and technique. Find some blocks. You can use yoga blocks and stack them under your head. I don't have those right now, so I'm gonna be using these ASRV boxes. So I'm just gonna stack them under my head like this. I'm gonna push down until my head touches the block, and I'm just gonna push up and do those for a couple reps. Notice how I go down. I'm still keeping my elbows relatively close to my ribs, and I'm not flaring out my elbows because that can cause imbalance. When that becomes easy, simply take out the block and start to do it on that lower surface, and then again take out the block until you can do a full range of motion handstand, back-facing handstand push-up. Now let's move on to the chest-facing handstand push-up. Again, I like doing this for proper form and technique. What I mean by that is when you do a regular handstand push-up, you're not going straight down, but you're slightly going at an angle and then back up to your free handstand push-up. So it's never straight down like this with my back arched. The proper handstand push-up is to go slightly at an angle, and the chest facing handstand push-up helps with that a ton because you have your toes spotting you against the wall, and you can build good habits going down with this motion. So for the setup, I'm gonna get into my chest facing wall handstand, and I'm gonna walk my hands in front of me until maybe about under 45 degrees so that my body is at that slight angle. And I'm gonna use the upper part of my feet to slide against the wall and just spot me. Same cues, try not to arch your back, try to keep your spine neutral, try to keep your body a straight line as you go down. Keep your elbows tight, you're always spotting the floor with your eyes, you're engaging your shoulders, and you're pressurizing through the floor with your fingertips. Okay, now that we got our pike section down and our wall section down, let's start to put everything together and start doing our first free handstand push-up. 2 moves first. They're basically the opposite of each other. The first move is going to be handstand push-up negatives. When you do this move, you're going to go into a handstand and combine all those moves we just went over, spotting the floor, keeping your elbows tight, all that good stuff. We're going to try our best to make that angle with our body, similar to the chest facing wall handstand. Toes pointed, legs locked. Try not to arch your back. And then once I can't push anymore or I can't push up, I'm simply gonna bring my legs down and spot my landing with my feet. If you somehow arch too much and you start to fall forward, immediately tuck your chin and bail out into a forward roll, or even better if you can do a cartwheel out of it. The final move that we're gonna add to our list is the pike floating push-ups, but this time we're gonna try to bring our legs up. So we're basically almost doing a full press up. We're just gonna combine these last 2 steps to get our full handstand push-up. Another tip when you're doing these kick-ups is not to kick too hard with your feet. Try to stay controlled, because when you kick too hard, that again can cause imbalance and causing you to bail out. So it's not only upper body in these movements, you're also staying controlled with your core, legs, and feet. Once you combine those last 2 moves, you basically got your handstand push-up, and you'll start to find that pattern of slowly going down, going back to that neutral handstand, and you'll find the sweet spot. All of these movements take time, and hopefully these tips helped you get your first handstand push-up. I wish I knew these moves when I first started. I kind of had a ton of different trial and errors. I'm glad I got to share these to you. I hope you get your first handstand push-up. And if you do want to work out with me, be sure to check out my full calisthenics programs on Ganbaru. I've been working with Coach Eugene Teo, and we've been releasing lots of programs that you can follow, all with video, and we have a ton of more programs coming out this coming year. So stay tuned to that. You can start your 7-day free trial. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.